Hello and welcome to episode 7 of our 8-day anniversary special of Around the Verse. On today's show, we're going to celebrate what many people call the hardest working ship manufacturer in the verse, MISC. I'm Sandi Gardiner.
And I'm Chris Roberts. So MISC, or Musashi Industrial and Starflight Concern, is best known for their heavy industrial division, which produces the famous Hull line of transport ships. Ranging in size from the single-seat Hull A all the way up to the massive Hull E, a significant portion of goods in the UAE are transported aboard MISC brand vessels. But MISC is more than just transport ships like the Freelancer and the Starfarer. They manufacture ships for almost every industry, ranging from mining to research vessels to even ships made for news reporting. The company made headlines for being the first manufacturer to begin to significantly incorporate Jean tech into their ships, with the more recent crafts like the Razor and the Reliant featuring the tech quite prominently in their designs.
Let's go now to Jared, our artists and designers for an all-MISC ship shape.
Greetings, citizens, and welcome to another Ship Shape, where we give a quick rundown on what's in the ship pipeline, who's working on what, provide interviews with developers, and bring you the most up-to-date news on your favorite ships working their way towards release into the Star Citizen universe. I'm your host, Community Content Manager Jared Huckabee. Behind me, you see the ship pipeline, the path the ship takes from design to concept, through white box to gray box to final art and flight prep. It's kind of like how a bill becomes a law, but with less music and lyrics. And not for me not trying, let me tell you. On day 7 of our anniversary special, we're taking a look at the ships of Musashi Industrial and Starflight Concern, manufacturer of ships like the versatile Freelancer, the super-fast Razor, the hybrid Xeno technology Reliant, and the massive science platform, the Endeavor. To get us started today, we're going to check in with the team members working to bring the MISC Prospector to life.
The MISC Prospector is really kind of Star Citizen's first proper mining ship. We decided to start relatively small with that kind of whole process, should we say, that design, and really use an established manufacturers such as MISC. So we really kind of, hit the ground running with that stuff.
Prospector is the smallest starter mining ship, something like a smaller Freelancer, same sort of generic shape, single person with a bed. Not much in the way of living space like the Freelancer.
This is basically a mining ship you'd go and buy if you have next to no money, and you just come into the game and your main profession you want to start is mining. That's kind of the place you'd go and start. So it comes with a little mining laser, an extra sort of powerful sensor on the bottom, and sort of cargo containers on the back to hold all the ore and stuff. The exterior is quite industrial, and the interior is still sort of following the sort of MISC style. So you've got the bare metal panels, large rounded surfaces and stuff like that. It still gels quite nicely with the manufacturer, but yeah, it has more of a, you can tell it's a mining ship, looking far away from it, because you see all these pipes and the mining laser drill and stuff.
I'd say the key feature is probably the big drill that sticks out the front. When it's not needed, it retracts back into the ship, and when it is, it folds out. And then we've got sort of a big refinery that's exposed on the exterior. That's a pretty cool feature, and you can see the sort of structural elements of the ship joining the front and half and the rear together.
So what it would do, it would use its powerful scanner to scan asteroids and other such things. Maybe land on them and use its little mining laser to core out apart and suck up useful ore. It can't crunch down a whole asteroid like an Orion, but a company could use that to go out, prospect like panning for gold in the old days, and come back and tell them where it is, and then they'd send out the big fleet. So it's a good little exploration / mining vessel that I think that's going to be a really fun sort of career to embark on. Exploring the place, finding useful stuff, getting rich. You could start out as this is your ship, and then if you strike lucky, get a load of ore, you expand your mining company into a huge thing. Could be a lot of fun, I think. It's a smaller Freelancer, as I said. It's nice and sleek, curvy, riveted panels, like what I like, that sort of thing. Most of it back is taken up by the ore, processing bit. It's not a complicated refinery, it's just filtering out the crap and putting the stuff you want into the buckets on the side. We've got those nice extending buckets now. You've got the panel at the back as well for sorting out cargo when you've landed. You'd go around the back and it would fold down with a little control panel to sort the stored ore and transfer it out into wherever you've landed. But inside it's quite Spartan. There is a bed and a small sort of kitchen area, but that's all folded away. It's just a very small room. It's not somewhere you want to live. It's like the back of a caravan.
My favourite sort of design element of it is the way that it crosses the typical MISC plating and the chrome with this hyper-industrial mechanical feel, with the exposed engine areas and the drill sticking out the front. It's cool to see the two of them stuck together.
I'm getting the last few bits sorted out, and it's going to be ready to go in 3.0. The last bit I'm doing at the moment is getting the bed sorted, because we want to have the save and quit functions in all the ship beds. We're still waiting on the actual mining tech. Yeah, the Prospector's kind of like a bee with flowers. It would go between them, grabbing up ore and stuff, and then sending that information back to the hive, if you want to call it that.
This is the kind of ship I think I would go for. It's got a really good view out the front as well, because it's just a glass dome, so there's not the restrictions of big pieces of paneling in front of you. I think personally I would probably just use it for exploring planets and just looking at nice scenery and flying around. I think it'd be quite enjoyable.
With Star Citizen Alpha 3.0 on its way, you could say that its prospects are looking up. Once again, I'm not the pun guy. The MISC Prospector, like most ships preparing for launch with Alpha 3.0, is in the last phase of the ship pipeline, final prep, where it's going through all the last-minute tweaks and bug fixes necessary before its introduction into the Star Citizen universe proper. But up next, let's check in with a team working on a ship that might get a C for hull, but definitely has an A for cargo capacity.
The Hull series, as a whole, is a really interesting challenge. We decided to start with the Hull C because it's the middle ground in the whole fleet.
So the Hull C is a cargo ship that we sold a long time ago. This is a ship that looks relatively simple from the exterior, but that is a ship that is collapsing on itself and can deploy as well, that is supposed to land and support a lot of cargo.
When it's in its cargo mode, it basically has long struts that can fold out and the ship basically doubles in size.
So these basically fold out like a fan and you can fit a ton of cargo on there as you're flying along. The only downside to that is the fact you can't land when the struts are out, obviously, because there's 4 of them and you'd need like ridiculously long landing gear otherwise.
If you have some cargo and want to connect to a station, at some point it will be possible to connect with a docking collar. You can take containers from a station, from planets as well, obviously, and then you can go to different parts of the galaxy or of the solar system to sell your stuff. The issue with this ship is that at first, when we sold it, we've shown some animation of it collapsing on itself. This is one of the most complex parts of any ship in the game right now. The cargo spindle in the middle, this is supposed to deploy in a specific way.
It presented its subset of challenges of, really, we've got this moving ship that can kind of move on itself, right? So we've never done that before, so that's kind of kicked off a whole sprint to obviously kind of make that possible. You have to move vis-airs, you have to move lighting, you have to move collision dynamically in the ship. So that's incredibly challenging to do, but it's going to serve its purpose because then that's enabled us to do stuff on the Pioneer, which we wanted to do, right? So we're always thinking about this stuff as we're doing it. We're not doing it just for one ship. Does that make sense?
We have what we call physics read. Until now, we never had interior physics reads that were moving into each other. With this animation, it meant that everything was going inside and there was only the room for 2 people at the front of the ship and nothing else at all. So we had some room at least to have like some beds and some place to live, some place to go outside, but also some place to put the components. Like if you have some mechanical issue in space, you can still work on the engine, work on the gravity generator, on other parts like this. Once this was done, obviously the ship got bigger, and once the ship got bigger, we had to ask ourselves some questions like, do we put some stairs like we planned at the start? Do we put a lift? Do we put different parts? And so we tried different layout. Most importantly, we had to make a layout that will work for other ships in the series. On top of that, this is a cargo ship. This is a space truck, basically. It's not a ship that you can really defend yourself with. You have some remote turrets, you have some guns at the front, but you need to plan an escort to go through the universe without any issues.
When you look at it, it looks like a MISC ship. Like, you know, that's kind of, you know, the sort of primary goal of the ship guys, to make sure it sort of gels with the other ships in that manufacturer. So, you know, when you see it flying along, you know it's a MISC ship, and, you know, it's got this kind of stuff inside it, and, you know, you sort of know how to use it, kind of thing. Graham's done a really nice job on the exterior as well. Like the struts on the arms are crazy complicated to do. Like the mechanism for that is really insane. So yeah, in the interior for the Hull C, like I quite like the sort of engine room at the back, just because it sort of gave me the rear portion of the ship doesn't have it didn't have any concepts or anything. So I basically took the shape that Graham had sort of carved out from the exterior, and it put some like crazy 3-tier engine bay in it, which you know, it looks quite interesting. The bottom area is just sort of arc gubbins, effectively. So you've got these large kind of pulses that go to the engines, and then you've got a sort of lift that takes you to a component floor with, you know, power, shields, gravity generator, and all that sort of stuff. And then the top floor is just like an external sort of airlock out to the back of the ship, with a little sort of like viewing area that you can stand on if you need to check the engines and stuff. But yeah, that was it got considerably larger than the designer's block out was like a tiny little box for the back of the ship, and I managed to wrangle some, you know, massive 3-tier sort of area. So yeah, push it as far as you can. But luckily I had sort of Nate's art direction to sort of pull me back a bit, because I quite like colour, so I was sort of throwing in a lot of very heavy colours, and he was just like, you know, calm it down, which was quite nice.
It's got a lot of cool things about it. I my personal favourite thing about the whole ship is there's the habitational area on the top of the front of the ship, and the guys have put in this wicked little kind of slat window that outlooks into the folding arms section, so you can kind of sit there, and when the ship deploys, you can just appreciate this beautiful kind of unfolding, slow, deliberate kind of movement to it, almost kind of like 2001 rotation. Does that make sense? That is incredibly cool to look at, and I think it's going to be very cool to see people kind of latching on cargo and stuff onto those arms from that window in specific.
You can feel a lot of MISC intentions in the ship. This is older, but this is still a MISC ship.
The MISC style itself is very kind of clean and clinical in that respect. Like the walls don't have any of the, you know, the fluffy pads or pillows and stuff that the like Retaliator and stuff has. We
already had a very established kind of style between the Freelancer and the Starfarer, so it's really kind of taking that should we say that foundation from those ships and really kind of building upon it. So the development cycle is fairly kind of painless now with MISC ships. It's we can kind of, you know, they come in and we're pretty efficient on the production side of actually developing them.
When I'm making a ship, I just try and look at all the other ships in the range, and then just try and take design cues from each of them and fit it together so that they all look like they've all come from the same factory, basically, or they at least had the same designers on them.
The Hull C has completed the final modeling and surfacing stage of final art, and is now being tended to by multiple teams working on animations, UI, audio, and tech art. Once work on the ship is complete, the resources and practices learned here will be applied to the other 4 variants of the Hull lineup. Just thinking about it brings a smile to my face. Trust me, it's there, under all this hair. Before I let you go, if you haven't already, don't forget to take the Observer test currently up on the RSI website for your chance to win one of the brand new bounty hunting ships, the Anvil Hawk. It's no purchase necessary, and the full rules are there for those of you who are interested. For ShipShape, I'm Community Content Manager Jared Huckabee. Back to you, Chris and Sandy.
That's all for today's special anniversary episode and Day 7. Be sure to visit our store to receive 20% off all merchandise and check out the MISC lineup, including limited ships, back on sale from now until December 4.
Yes, that's very cool. And thanks to all our backers and subscribers for your support. We're all very grateful for your enthusiasm and passion for Star Citizen. We definitely could not do this without you guys being there for us.
We could not. And don't forget, tomorrow is the finale of our manufacturer spotlights, where we'll be highlighting all things Drake. This is one you're definitely not going to want to miss, as there will be a special happy hour after the show for you to vote on a brand new Drake ship to go into Star Citizen.
Yeah, which should be pretty cool. Looking forward to seeing that.
Will be.
Until then, we'll
will
see you
around the verse. Right, ready?
Okay.
7 Hull C's hauling, 6 constellations, 5 pioneers, 4 890 jumps, 3 tumbrils, 2 hammerheads, and a hawk in a pear tree.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.